Are demons behind mental illness? If my child has a mental illness, does it mean that my child has a demon and my child needs deliverance? It's a common question that is asked almost every single time we do deliverance or we have our deliverance services or deliverance conferences. With the huge rise of mental illnesses, all kinds of learning disorders, and all kinds of mental deficiencies that are happening in our generation, many people are seeking for hope, for help, and for healing. And because we see in certain occasions where deliverance takes place and mental illnesses are gone, people run to deliverance, hoping that that could solve the problem. I want to look at it from the scriptural perspective and also share some practical differences between demons and disorders, and also leave you with some encouragement at the end, and we will pray. Number one, mental illness can be demonic. It's obvious, it's in the Bible. For example, Mark chapter 5, verse 15, it says that when they came to Jesus, the people of the Gentile country, they saw the man who had been demon-possessed and had a legion, sitting and clothed and in his right mind. So the fact that he had a right mind after his deliverance indicates he didn't have a right mind before his deliverance. And it was obvious. If you look at what he was doing, this wasn't just the signs of demonic possession. These were also signs of a mental disorder. And these two were so connected that when Jesus delivered this man, his mind was restored. His mind came back to him. There are instances when demons are cast out and the person's mind is restored. There are instances where demons are cast out and then the person's mind can be healed with the help of medicine and healing prayer, but it doesn't happen automatically, meaning the demons being removed doesn't automatically cause the mind, the chemicals and deformities and disorders to be cured. And so that's the first indication we see in the Bible, is the demons can be behind mental disorders. Number two is mental illness can be a direct result of sin. We see that also in the Bible. For example, Daniel chapter 4 verse 33, that very hour the word was fulfilled concerning Nebuchadnezzar. He had been driven from men and ate grass like oxen. His body was wet with the dew of heaven, until his hair had grown like eagle's feathers and his nails like bird's claws. So it was obvious that Nebuchadnezzar lost his mind. We would put a person like that today in the asylum, in mental institution, because he was pretty much living like an animal. God allowed, through the sin of pride, for Nebuchadnezzar to lose his mind, and he became what we would call mental. Now, we don't see signs of demonic possession, and we don't see actually deliverance taking place when his mind was restored to him, even though it could be, but we don't see that. We see a direct result of pride and sin. Now again, this doesn't mean that every case is like that every case of mental disorder is directly connected to a specific sin. Now we know that every sin, illness, death, curse is the direct result of the sin of Adam, but the specific sins that we or our ancestors committed could be a result in a particular illness, including mental disorder. But it's not a rule, and it's not specifically a formula by which you can discern the source of that particular problem in your life. Number three, mental illness can be a physical illness without a specific connection to some kind of a sin or a demon. We see Luke chapter 10 verse 34, it says, "And he went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine, and he set him on his own animal and brought him to an inn and took care of him." We see that this man that Samaritan picked up who was wounded, he healed him and then he brought him to an inn. The world we live in today is so broken. We can come under different attacks of missing chemicals. We can be born with certain deformities and certain disorders that will require the healing touch of God or the compassionate care of our family members. We see that God uses different elements on the earth, such as leaves and figs, to assist in the healing process from physical problems. Ezekiel chapter 47 verse 12, 1 Timothy 5:23, and Isaiah 38 verse 21. Paul was telling Timothy to begin to take wine, not just water, for his constant infirmities in his stomach. taking medicine is not a weakness of faith. Actually, it was the churches that invented the idea of hospitals. There are people who go on medication because of their disorders, and these medications help them to function as responsible and good citizens in their society and in their community. And that's not a weakness of faith. That's normal. We see that even in the Bible. Now, can God supernaturally heal? Yes. But we also see instances where people, through medicine, they got better. We also know that there are cases where healing doesn't happen, especially in the area of autism, learning disorder, or maybe somebody who went through trauma, or somebody who had an accident that caused them to have seizures, or caused them to have epilepsy, or caused them to have schizophrenia or some other thing. Certain trauma happened that threw their chemicals in their brain off, and now they're not able to function as a normal human being. And in cases like these, the compassionate care of the family members, medical professionals, come in play to continue to care for these image bearers of God who are facing, honestly, a very, very difficult part in their life concerning their health. And then also, I would be very careful, unless you have discernment of spirits, not to judge every case as every mental case is demonic. And not every epilepsy or seizures is demonic. Some people have physical, if they have problems in their brain, they will have a seizure, and that's not demonic. That's just physical reaction to certain things that are taking place in their brain. I've read this book, and I want to share with you the 6 differences between disorders and demons. It's according to Dr. Stephen Waterhouse. In his book, Strength for His People, he shares 6 differences between demons and disorders. Number 1 is demons speak in rational dialogue. People with mental illnesses speak in irrational dialogue. Untreated people with schizophrenia will often speak in nonsense and jump rapidly from unrelated topics. Demons are sharp and they speak clearly. People who have mental disorders, many times they don't speak clearly. They jump from one thing to another, especially people who have schizophrenia. The second difference between demons and disorders is demons want to do nothing with Christ. People with mental illnesses are often devotedly, religiously committed to God. They actually obsessively read the scriptures. They love to pray, and it's important to differentiate between that. Number 3, demons give supernatural knowledge to their host, but a person with mental illness only knows facts acquired through normal learning. The fourth difference, demons want to be secretive. They want to hide. They do not want to manifest. People with mental illness, they claim to be demon possessed. A lot of people with mental illness will claim to be demonized. But you must understand that demons love to hide. They carry the nature of a thief, and the thief is only successful if he is anonymous, if he is hidden, if he is secretive. And so not every person who claims that they are demonized are demonized. Number 5, demonic phenomena at times is scary and spooky, but a person does not exhibit supernatural behavior who has a mental disorder. Like if you've done or you've seen deliverances, they could be spooky, they could be crazy, a person can exhibit supernatural strength, can have supernatural knowledge, can do things that are really, really scary. When it comes to a person who has a disorder, they don't exhibit those supernatural strengths. They don't have that supernatural phenomena. It's just a person who has something broken or something wrong in a particular part of their brain. Number 6 is demons cannot be cured with medicine. They need to be cast out. Mental illness can't be cured with exorcism. If prayer solved the problem, then it's probably not physical, it was spiritual.